Hey, what's going on everybody? Craig with Shipley Transport. Welcome back to the channel. Just like always, please like, share, subscribe. Really helps the channel keep growing, helps the information get out there, helps more people be able to find it a little bit easier. So today's video is going to be a little bit twofold. One, it's going to be just kind of an important message, and the second half of the video, there's been a lot of people asking, how do you book loads? How do you book freight? I'm not going to say I'm a true expert. I'm not going to say I'm perfect. Not all of my loads are great, but I'm going to tell you guys what I do, working customers, working load boards, stuff like that, to really book solid freight as much as possible. So, part one, we talked about last week, or I guess 2 weeks ago now, having a good mental outlook and stuff like that. So, I just want to share a quick story of one of the things that happened this week. And the reason for the story is I want you to know to just keep grinding. So I ended up taking a load down to Texas, delivered it at 8 o'clock in the morning, had another load booked. Deadhead, because it was a lot of back roads and stuff like that, was a couple hours. And I get to the shipper, walk in the doors, try to get checked in as the lady is calling my broker to cancel the load because they wanted to push it up to 15,000 pounds instead of the 5,000 pounds it was supposed to be. So obviously I got a tonneau out of it, which isn't great, but it's something. For the most part, kept my head. Obviously got a little upset at that point in time, but for the most part, kept my head. Went back out to the truck, hopped on the load board. Only took me 20-30 minutes, found another one. Another hour away, but hey, now we're up to 3.5 or so hours of Deadhead. Make it over there, pull through security, and the broker calls. Says, hey bud, the parts aren't all ready. I'm gonna have to push this back to Thursday, Friday. All right then. By this point, it's 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm still in Texas. It was first part of this week to where it was way hotter than I like it to be. I went out to the truck. I had about a 5-minute freak out and breakdown where I was mad, saying words I shouldn't say, but corrected my attitude really quickly. Was able to find another load. I was literally stopped at this place for a total of 19 minutes. So that's how fast I was able to find another load. They loaded until 3 and I was able to make it by 2:58. And thankfully that load paid great. So understand, bad things are going to happen. You're not in control over everything. You're not going to be able to say, oh, bad things are going to happen. It's up to you on how you keep your mindset. It's up to you on what type of week you have. When I was in the Air Force, there was a supervisor that one of the sayings that he loved to say was, your attitude determines your altitude. In that particular case, I felt like that came in extremely important and felt like it was very fitting. So that's my little story there. Now, when it comes to booking freight, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. The first and foremost, if you can get your own customers, direct customers, it's way easier. Your customers will call you, tell you what they have, ask you for the price, you give it to them. 9 times out of 10, they're going to say yes as long as you're not being ridiculous. Now, the catch-22 of that is sometimes if you're out on the road, you're, for instance, up in Wisconsin, Minnesota, or wherever, and your customer needs a load picked up, let's just say Florida or wherever. And they need it in a day or two, then yeah, you might be kind of stuck and your customer might get mad at you. But generally speaking, as long as you've got a good working relationship with these individuals, you're able to explain, hey, I can be there by this time, and give them a rate or a quote, and you'll be good to go. When dealing with brokers, first and foremost, I've only ever done general freight. I don't know a whole lot about the load boards as far as for cars and boats and stuff like that. So if that's what you're looking for, I don't have any experience for you. I'm not gonna say you have to do it this way if I don't know. So when looking for general freight, I use Truck Stop and I use DAT. on on both of them, I try to select the most stuff that could possibly have a load that is applicable to me. So flatbeds, flatbed step deck with loading ramps, flatbed HotShot, expedited, since as a HotShot driver we are expediters, stuff like that. Both of them allow you to put in your length and your overall weight. With my trailer being 35 feet long, I put in 38 feet because I know I can have those 3 feet of overhang with a flag and call it good. Obviously 9,000 pounds in my case. Your deadhead miles, when you're setting that stuff, you really just have to look at the market. If you're in a place like Houston, for example, you should have enough loads within 50 to 100 miles that you shouldn't have to worry about a whole lot of deadhead. If you're in Fargo, North Dakota, you might have to put it out to 250 or 300 miles. So that is per market. Then going through the load board, the most important thing I can stress is don't overbook yourself. And when I say that, figure out if they're on a certain route, figure out if there's a lot of back roads, or if you're going to be on the interstate the entire time, if you're going to be in 65 mile an hour interstate versus 80 mile an hour interstate. And the reason I say that is on an average day, just depending on your driving habits, you can get 650, 700, 750 miles within your 11-hour clock. So don't book something that has a 200-mile deadhead and it's 800 miles on the load, but they want it there the very next morning if you don't have it. One of the reasons that not just hotshotters, truckers in general, get bad raps and stuff like that with brokers is we overcommit. So for me, the biggest secret about booking loads is making sure, one, I'm using every single minute on my clock, but two, I don't overcommit myself. Today, for example, I was able to go 737 miles because the majority of everywhere I went, it was either 70 or 75. Had a delivery this morning, had a pickup that was 26 miles away. It was very, very easy. And when I stopped, I had, I believe, 8 minutes left on my drive time. One other time this week, I had to stop almost an hour ahead of my drive time. So really just pay attention to that stuff, guys. Again, like I said before, I try not to do a whole lot of partials, but I will call on a lot of flatbed freight, stuff that a lot of brokers talk to me all the time and they tell me, nope, that's a full 48 or a full 53. I hear that a lot, but there are also some out there that just post it as a flatbed and I can see the weight, and if it's 35 feet or less, that's going on my truck, guys, and that's the load that's going to pay $3.50, $4 a mile, somewhere in there, versus just trying to look for just the perfect load. If you look for just the perfect load, you're going to do a lot of sitting. So those are my, I guess, secrets or techniques or whatever. There's not a whole lot of rocket science to it. Once you're out here on the road, you'll learn a lot about the different areas and the different locations that freight is better at and locations that freight is worse at. So that'll also help you when you're booking freight. If you're going out to Denver or Tucson or somewhere like that, then understand you need a little bit better rate per mile to get out there because it might not pay as well to get out. Don't get me wrong, there is occasionally good freight that comes out of those areas. I am in no way saying 100% of the time it's terrible or 100% of the time it's great, but just really try to pay attention to your markets. I've also had questions about what are good brokers and bad brokers to work with. That for me is an impossible question to answer, for the fact that there are companies out there such as TQL or Landstar or C.H. Robinson or whomever. They have good brokers that try to treat you fairly. They try to give you a good solid rate. And then they have the jerk brokers that they might have $1,500 in a load, but because it's in a good area, they're only paying $500 on it, and that's what they're gonna do. So there's not one particular company I can flat out say, don't do business with them, because as far as I can remember, I've always found at least one good broker or one good person to work with each individual brokerage. So that's pretty much it. That's a wrap on all that stuff. Truck stop and DAT, make sure you got your load board set up correctly, and don't overcommit yourself while trying to maximize your clock. Oh, the only other thing I will say, I don't care if it's posted for $7 a mile. I don't care. Ask for more money. Almost every single time, the broker has a buffer. ask for more money, even if it's the best load you've ever seen in your life. And I won't even put a percentage on it. Majority of the time, you're going to get it. So have your load board set up correctly. Don't overcommit yourself. Use your clock. And work for direct customers. Work for your customers in your local area. Go door to door, business to business. Take business cards. Ask to speak to the shipping and receiving coordinators. Explain who you are. Sell yourself. Sell your business. You'll get your direct customers, and you'll really see your business really start taking off. So once again, like, share, subscribe. I really appreciate it, guys. I hope you found this informational. Some of you guys are going to hate my ideas. Some of you are going to love them. Either way, I hope we can all get along and really improve the industry. So thanks again, guys. Have a great weekend.